And joining us now is Democratic Congressman Greg Casar of Texas. He's a member of the Oversight and Education Committees and chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Congressman, you heard Elon Musk there saying Trump's big, beautiful bill just wiped out all of his work with DOGE cuts. What's your reaction?
Look, Elon Musk and Donald Trump are in total agreement that they want to have this bill give billionaires a tax break. They're in total agreement that they want this bill to have a $25 billion contract for Trump's, quote, Golden Dome, where Elon Musk is the front runner to get those $25 billion. It seems the area of disagreement is whether they want to kick 10 or 15 or 20 million Americans off their health care. What people at home need to know is that we don't need to give billionaires a penny. We don't need to kick anyone off their health care, and we don't need to give Elon Musk another sweetheart contract. So we should be fighting to block this bill, period, and not be distracted by Elon Musk and Donald Trump having little disagreements about how many Americans they want to let die just so that they can get themselves a sweetheart contract or a tax cut.
Well, I mean, I just think also when you think about what chaos was ignited through all these cuts by DOGE, cuts that, as Christine just pointed out, weren't nearly as deep, at least when it comes to savings, as he claimed he would create, but yet had this massive ripple effect through the federal workforce and so many aspects of American life and economies on the local level. Congress is out, right now. Lawmakers are back home in their districts. Let's talk more about this big, beautiful bill, because GOP Congressman Mike Flood of Nebraska, he had a town hall yesterday, and he made this admission about that piece of legislation. Take a listen.
This provision was unknown to me when I voted for the bill. Medicaid cuts. We cannot and will not cut Social Security, and we, for the most part, protected Medicaid.
So it's already passed the House. He's saying, oh, this provision was hidden in the bill. How concerned are you that Senate Republicans may not take the time to read everything that's in the bill?
These guys, they either act ignorant or they lie. This congressman, my esteemed colleague, he knows that this is the biggest Medicaid cut in American history. What was discovered right before they passed the bill is that this is also the biggest Medicare cut in American history. So we can't let these Republican members of Congress go and lie to their own constituents. That's why I, a progressive Democrat from Central Texas, have flown to Arizona, have flown to Colorado to go speak in Republican-held districts, answer people's questions, and tell the truth. Because Republican members of Congress either entirely skip out on town halls or, like you just saw on video there, just make stuff up.
But he is facing his constituents. Let's pivot to the Bitcoin conference. President Trump has the power to influence this market. The Trump family has actively promoted their cryptocurrencies in this second term, leading many to openly question the ethical and the legal ramifications of this move. Vice President Vance at one point owned up to $500,000 in Bitcoin. Should they be there at this conference? Are there adequate guardrails?
What people watching at home need to know is that while working class Americans are being threatened with losing their health care, Trump and the members of his family are cashing in big time on these crypto scams. Trump has made millions, if not billions of dollars on these crypto scams. Now, 40% of his wealth is in cryptocurrency, all basically built up since he won back the White House, and he's basically put a for sale sign in front of the White House. So if you are a foreign government that wants to influence Trump and his family, just slip some money in Trump's pocket. If you are a tax cheat that wants a pardon from Trump, just slip some crypto money in Trump's pocket. But if you're a veteran that needs access to health care, or you're a kid that can't afford school lunch, then you get nothing. This is another example of billionaires get everything under Trump and working class people get screwed. This could be the biggest corruption scandal in American history, and they're out there in Las Vegas bragging about it. It is so blatant.
Meantime, let's talk about those pardons from the Chrisleys, reality stars, who were found guilty of fraud and tax evasion, to the Trump-supporting former sheriff who was convicted of a cash for badges scheme, to the former nursing home exec who had pleaded guilty to tax crimes, then pardoned after his mother attended a Trump fundraiser that cost $1 million to attend, according to the New York Times. Congressman, what do you make of these pardons, and what message do they send?
This is a moment where the Democratic Party needs to point out to working class voters where we've been losing their trust, to point out just how corrupt Donald Trump has been. Well, he's jacking up your prices at the grocery store and making everybody pay for his tariffs. He's cashing in, taking donations from the family members of these criminals that screwed over their own workers, screwed over the taxpayers. He's cashing in and basically saying the rich get out of jail free card and the working class just get screwed over. This is a moment where Democrats can say, look, we're going to change. We're going to get better and win back voters' trust by becoming an anti-billionaire, anti-corruption party and become a pro-working class people party again by pointing out just how horrific this Trump hypocrisy is.
At least in the case of the Chrisleys pardons, the White House said that Trump is always pleased to give well-deserving Americans a second chance, especially those who have been unfairly targeted and overly prosecuted by an unjust justice system. What's your reaction to that reasoning?
Donald Trump started off his presidency this time around with two big actions. First, he sat the richest people on earth at the front row of his inauguration ahead of his own cabinet and ahead of his own family. And then second, he pardoned the January 6th rioters who attacked police officers and members of Congress of both parties on January 6th. Basically, Donald Trump said that he wants to set up a system where he and his billionaire buddies and anybody that supports him get to run the show, and everybody else doesn't get a say, doesn't get to ask questions. And to me, that doesn't sound like the democracy that we've built America on. It sounds like creeping authoritarianism. And so the only way to push back on this is for Democrats to be really clear that if we win back a majority, we aren't just going to let bygones be bygones here. We have to go and investigate who paid Trump, who paid Musk, who made money off of these pardons, because that is really serious. And we can't just move along as if this is business as usual.
Congressman Greg Casar, thank you for your time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.